One of the most confusing parts of a breakup is when you know that the relationship wasn't healthy or it wasn't correct for you and it wouldn't actually work, but you still miss the person intensely. This is the point where a lot of people start to question their decisions and their judgment. They wonder if they made a mistake. They assume the longing must mean something. They'll start reinterpreting the past through the lens of feeling in the present. And from a somatic perspective, that's the exact moment where misunderstanding can do the most damage. Because missing someone after a breakup has very little to do with truth, compatibility, or whether the relationship should continue. It has everything to do with state dependency. Now, before we go further, I want to mention two things. I'm assuming in this relational series that these are ethical, healthy, normative range of relationships. I'm not talking about abuse or ethics violation. And then secondly, one quick orientation note, because this whole series will land far more personally for you when you know your own nervous system orientation. Different nervous systems experience longing very differently. Some interpret it as urgency, some as meaning, some as loss of identity, some as emotional collapse. And if you want to know which orientation you tend to lead with when attachment breaks, there is a free, short Somatic Skins Quiz assessment linked below. It isn't advice or a label. It'll simply help you to understand how your body processes separation and connection so that you don't mistake sensation for insight. So you can pause this video, go down and take the quiz, and then come back and watch the rest. Now, here's the core thing to understand. When you're in a relationship, your nervous system doesn't just attach to the person in identity. It attaches to the state that it learned to occupy in their presence. How your body felt when you were together. How your system settled or activated. How tension was distributed or relieved. Over time, that state becomes familiar, and familiar states feel safe, even when the relationship wasn't. So when the relationship ends, the nervous system doesn't just miss the person, it misses the way it knew how to be with them. That's why longing often intensifies in moments of stress, fatigue, loneliness, or uncertainty, like when your bandwidth is low. Because then the body isn't asking, was this person right for me? It's asking, where is the state that I know how to regulate in? This is also why missing someone can feel strongest when you are least resourced, late at night, after a hard day, when something goes wrong. The nervous system is under load and it reaches for the most familiar regulator it knows. This doesn't mean that the relationship was good or correct. It means that the regulation was familiar. That distinction is critical because without it, people will start using longing as evidence. They'll think, oh, if I miss them, it must really mean something. Or I can't stop thinking about them. Maybe I was wrong. But longing isn't a message. It's a withdrawal signal. Just like craving doesn't mean that a substance is good for you, missing someone doesn't mean the relationship was correct for you. It means your system hasn't yet learned how to regulate without that bond. This also explains why thinking about the relationship often feels strangely soothing, even when the memories themselves are painful. The body isn't replaying the story for clarity, it's recreating a familiar internal state. And this is where people often get stuck. They try to resolve longing by revisiting the past or even reopening closed loops, by reanalyzing conversations, by imagining different endings, by wondering what they could have done differently. From the nervous system's perspective, this keeps the state alive, kind of like picking a scab. The system stays oriented toward the old regulator instead of building a new one, either with self or others. This is also why advice like focus on their flaws or remind yourself why it didn't work often falls flat, because it assumes that longing is a cognitive error that can be corrected with simply better reasoning. But the body doesn't reorganize through reasoning. It reorganizes through new experiences of stability. Until your nervous system learns how to settle, orient, and feel safe without that person, longing will keep resurfacing. And that's not a sign, it's just a reflex. Different nervous systems handle this reflex differently. Some try to control it by cutting off feeling entirely. Some drown in it and lose structure. Some analyze it endlessly. Some oscillate between hope and resignation. None of those responses are wrong. They're attempts to manage a system that hasn't yet rebuilt its internal scaffolding. This is why the goal after a breakup isn't to stop missing someone. The goal is to stop using missing as a compass. As long as longing is treated as legit information, it will keep hooking you and pulling you backward. When it's understood as a state signal, it becomes something that you can work with. That work looks like rebuilding regulation from the ground up, restoring rhythm, reclaiming physical structure, reorienting attention, reestablishing identity outside the relationship. When those capacities start to return, something very specific happens. You don't force yourself to stop missing them. You simply stop needing them, aka the state that they provided. And when that happens, the longing loses its authority. It may still appear, but it no longer dictates your choices or hooks you in the same way. You're well. In the next video, we're going to look at how each nervous system orientation breaks down after a breakup, why some people become controlling, some collapse, some spiral into meaning, and some disappear entirely. Once you can see your pattern clearly, the path forward becomes much simpler. Not easier, but clearer. If you've joined me this far in the series, thank you. Please do consider liking and subscribing. It helps us out and the channel. And if you already know that you want to train applied somatics with us personally, either because you're a somatic professional or because you're an individual on the edge of your own evolution, consider joining us for a season and experience the power of this work for yourself. See you next time.